Hi everybody, this is Mike from Enviroscape LA. I want to welcome you to our latest project. This is a drought resistant or drought tolerant garden. It used to be grass. In fact, let's get a shot of the neighbor's place right here. This garden we just finished was a week ago identical to this. And so what I want to talk to you about today is I want to talk to you about the elements of the drought-resistant garden, a garden that doesn't take a lot of water. We had a tractor come in here and remove a ton of soil because it was just way too high, years and years of fertilizer, and the gardener was putting soil amendment on it, and it just kind of built up. So we actually had a lot of soil taken out. Next, we brought in a lot of good soil amendment, mixed it in, then it was ready to plant. We got our mycorrhiza, we've got what we'll call fertilizer. It was a blended compost and so on. Anyway, we got that going, and then came the landscape plan. We had the landscape designer design these beautiful plants. Like, for example, these are from Australia, hot, dry Australia. They're called kangaroo paws. We got the kufia here. It's got the yellow tinge on it. We got the cordylines. These are striped cordylines. We've got the sunburst right here. We've got the oak grass. We've got the lamandra grasses right here. Just a feast for the eyes. I know a lot of Los Angelinos are actually pulling grass out, and they're putting gravel down. Now, I got to tell you something. China went through this. They went through drought. India has gone through it for decades. And so what did they do? They figured we don't have the water to water trees, so they let them die. Did you know that the temperatures have risen tens of degrees in those countries? In India, it's been up to 130. It's horrific of what's happening. In Los Angeles, we have we live in a basin, and it's very, very dry to begin with. They import, on average, about 1.5 billion gallons of water a day. We need the coolness, but we're not going to get it if we take trees out. Trees are basically a water pump. They pump water out of the ground, they send it back in the air, it cools us down. In fact, if it's a hot day, it's really, really hot, and you're at a park, what do? You run for the nearest tree, for the shade of the tree. That's what you do. It's human nature. So we need plants. We don't just need grass, but we also need plants. But why settle for just cactus? Really, when you can have something more beautiful. So this area here was designed in mind to attract birds and butterflies. The homeowner wanted to attract birds and butterflies. And the question comes up, well, wait a minute, I thought we were in a horrific drought. Yes, we are. Then why did you put in a fountain? Well, here's the simple explanation. The simple explanation is that it's not just about what looks pretty to us, but it's also about the birds and the butterflies. Everything is so interconnected on our planet. It really is. If the bees died, they're taking us with them. You know what the number one thing that a bee looks for when it goes in the yard? Water, a source of water. Birds, hummingbirds, dragonflies, I mean, these things need water. So this is a fresh little drink of water that's going to be able to serve as a drinking fountain, if you will, for the little creatures that need it. And it's recycling, so it looks beautiful, it sounds amazing, and best of all, it acts as a water source for the birds and the butterflies that really need it. We used an Awasa pump here, and the Awasa pump pushes water through here, and it recycles, it goes into the ground. Check this out, it's like magic, it just kind of goes into like infinity. And we did put a little tiny light in right here, so at night this thing lights up like something you'd see at Disneyland. It's a really, really cool thing. I want to also take a look at another element of this great landscape. Is the heart of it is the irrigation system. So Louis went ahead and designed this thing out. This is actually, look at how clean these valves are. These are for the Rainbird. This is part of the Rainbird Copper Shield Technology drip irrigation system. So all these valves are meant specifically for to last for a long, long time. They actually send water to the Copper Shield Technology drip irrigation. It's a little tiny tubing about that round, and every 12 inches it actually puts out water, and it has a little strip of copper, and the strip of copper will actually create a negative ion that creates an acid that prevents root intrusion. It's great technology. The main thing to remember, the takeaway is if you're going to do drip irrigation, make sure to use the Rainbird Copper Shield Technology drip irrigation. 0.6 gallon per hour. Right here we have our timer for lights. We use the FX transformer. Over here, that's the timer for the fountain, because why would you want to run a fountain at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when nobody's going to enjoy it? So it does turn off, saves electricity. We put flagstone here so the homeowner could enjoy the garden, and we laid drip irrigation along here, and between each step has drip irrigation. We put a drought-tolerant ground cover called Diamondia. Great ground cover, doesn't get any taller than that, so it's great to use around steps. And if you follow me, I'm going to show you. Now, a lot of people are tearing their roses out, and they're saying, you know, we just, you know, roses suck up a lot of water. Well, it's true, but when you go out for dinner, you have that little slice of pie. You don't have a whole pie for dinner, but you have a little tiny slice, and you eat your protein and your carbohydrates and your vegetables, but then you have a little slice. So out of this whole entire residence, she wants roses. So guess what? We have roses. We added an extra drip irrigation line to it, and it's done. And if they get really dry, she can just give it a little drink of water. But why not? Life is about enjoying too. It's not just about water conservation. Over here, we have a native lawn. A lot of people, they're actually asking us about this, and their eyebrows are raising, because it's like, wait a minute, you guys are environmentally conscious and you're installing lawn? That's right. But this isn't just any lawn. This is a native mow-free lawn. Number one, it's a native grass, native to this part of the United States, so it takes very little water. Number two is you don't have to cut it, so it doesn't add to the landfills. You don't have to fertilize it and then cut all that good fertilized shavings, the clippings, and then send it to the top. It's part of the environmentally correct landscape for Southern California, the California-friendly garden. Over here, we're going to be doing pots tomorrow. We're going to hook those up on drip irrigation. And I want to show you what the drip irrigation looks like. We haven't mulched in. This, by the way, we did mulch this in, and we use the Deco Bark. A little bit of why you should be using Deco Bark here is because, or just mulch in general, is because plants derive their nutrition from the decaying plant materials of other plants, i.e. like nitrogenized compost and so on. So the bottom line is you want to cover that soil, because when it gets wet, you don't want the sun to scorch the ground. So this actually, number one, it helps to retain moisture in the soil. Number two, it actually feeds the soil. And three, it just looks fabulous. Take a look at this. It's finished. Now, I'm going to show you what this looked like in just 2 days ago. It actually looked like this. Over in the parkway, we haven't actually gotten this mulched in yet, but we will. But this is what it looked like here. So the mulch actually acts as an indicator light. So when you see the drip tubing, then it's time to feed your soil. Put more mulch down. And so just wanted to share this with you. Check this out. It just, here's the front entry right here. There's a planter to the right. There's a planter to the left. And it's all low maintenance. Don't even have to cut the grass. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. This is Mike from Enviroscape LA signing off. When you think sustainability, think Enviroscape LA.